Okay, hello everybody. My name is Scottimus432. I wanted to share with you today a Yu-Gi-Oh reprint guide for unlimited cards video. I know why you're here. I know why you clicked on this. You want to collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards and you've been trying to collect unlimited, but you get super frustrated because every time you do, you see that there's different deviations or variants and you get extremely concerned and stressed out, and then you stop because you're so mad. Or you're just trying to see if I'm a dumbass and you have a massive card collection and you just want to gain some more information. So, anyway, first thing you're going to want to do, here we have a I'm not very good at these videos, by the way, so don't expect a lot of graphics or anything. We have some Excel spreadsheet over here. I'll get to that in a minute. And we have the PowerPoint, right? The greatest tools known to mankind other than the microwave. But this is Legend of Blue Eyes. I'm gonna start with Legend of Blue Eyes, and I'm just going to go through all the releases. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a wizard. Okay, I'm kind of a noob, I guess, but I do like statistics and I like information, and that's what this is. It's an information exchange. We want to put out good information, not bad information. I hate bad information. Um, yeah, I mean, YouTube getting rid of their dislike button. I mean, geez, you got to have that, man. Anyway, so first thing you need to do is go check out this guy. His name is Gazzy TCG. I think it's GHEZZY He's got some Uprint YouTube video reprint guides, and he's a real sharp dude. I think he works for TCG or he's affiliated with them or something like that. And he sends some stuff to PSA. And I saw this video. He did him a few years ago, and I watched this video, and it gave me hope. It gave me hope that I thought I would be able to start collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards because I can't afford the first editions anymore. They hold their value really well. The first editions do, but it's absolutely ridiculous spending like $100 for some Time Wizard card or something along those lines. You know, you can get the commons first editions for as much as the unlimiteds or the second editions or whatever. Literally the same price for the commons. Once you get into the rares, it goes up a lot. So you're spending, $1,000 for first editions, and you're not even getting good cards. You're getting just beat to hell cards that nobody wants. They're just trying to get rid of them on eBay, right? Okay, so go check him out. Uh, Gezi TCG. He goes over everything, the booster packs, the UPCs on the back, whatever you call them, the different releases, different styles, points out a lot of stuff. I mean, makes it really great if you're trying to get sealed packs, trying to, I don't know, confirm something or just or match a set or whatever. And then he goes into the secret, ultra, and super rares, not the regular rares, and he talks about the differences that you can see on the screen that you've been staring at for 5 minutes that I have up here between first editions and the reprints. So it's really not that bad. If you go on eBay and you were to type in a particular card, like the Trihorn Dragon here, and you type LOB000, you think it's going to be 50-50 unlimiteds, the original cards, and then the other 50% would be the reprints. And oh my God, I'm going to buy a reprint. I know it. And it's not the case. I mean, it's actually a challenge to find reprints on eBay. When I did this, the one on the left, EZ First Edition. These are all just imported images from eBay, right? I don't own these cards. I just got the pictures on. I own some, but I got these pictures online on eBay. So first editions are easy, but to find the reprints is actually a bit of a challenge. Um, this one here is from PSA, but it's incredibly difficult. Like you would be surprised. It's like 1 out of 20, 2 out of 20 are reprints. So if you were to buy 100 cards randomly, yeah, uh, what would it be? 95 out of the 100 would be would be fine. It would be what you need. But I know you're frustrated that's not good enough. You need to know for sure 100% that you're doing the best that you possibly can to get an unlimited set because you have OCD just like me and a lot of other people. You need to know for sure that your set is 100% as much as it can be unlimiteds. And you're also annoyed by splitting first editions with unlimiteds. That's annoying too. That's what stopped me. Oh, you can get first editions of the ones cards you're not sure about, but then you have a mixed set, and that pisses me off too. I don't like that. A lot of people don't. I would rather have a complete unlimited than a mix. Or I'm just gonna keep going because there's so much to talk about. Anyway, so go check out Gezi, I think is how you pronounce it. Okay, the dude is on top of his shit. So one thing he talks about, I'll mention really quick, is he gave a pretty good presentation talking about science and art, and it was a good slide, and it was at the top. It was science, and you always start with science to prove things with differences in the cards, right? If you're trying to prove a reprint, you look at the science first. The visual differences that are scientific, more like positioning rather than subjective stuff like the artwork, the coloring. Da, da, da. I think it says objective versus subjective. I can't remember. Anyway, so let's get into it. So I went through Legend of Blue Eyes, the whole set. Now this is the first one from. There's different releases, okay, set releases. All right, there's one from 2002, the first one. There's the 2003 tins release, the collector's tins, 2003. Then there was the 2004 worldwide. I guess they call it I think it's the master collection. And then 2010 legendary. And then I think again, I think it was they designated I think 2017, but I think it actually came out in like 2015 or something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't matter because those two are the same. The legendaries of all the card scanning I did, anything, all you have to do is compare it to the 2010. So I know this sounds confusing, and I'm not a master of the dates, but go watch Gezi, TCG. I'm not affiliated in any way, but super good information, and like I'm shocked that no one's put it out there yet or before has done this. Like we need a database, would be super helpful. I went on some of the wikis and the PDAs and looked, and they just don't have a good database for the reprints. They have some images that actually looked authentic, but you can't trust what people are putting up. You have no clue. They don't know. There's PSA mistakes in here. They don't know either back then at the time, right? They weren't sure what was going on. Anyway, I'm about to get to it. So yeah, go check him out. He's got great information. If you take his information, now I'm just citing the differences on all I've done here. So he talks about like the set releases and the cards you got to look out for, and like how the differences there are. And all I'm doing is he talks about just like the rares, the secrets. I'm doing all the commons. So basically, you can just come to this if you wanted to and do a quick look and see the difference. And he had it. So let's see, there's the first edition 2002 is 1. You have the unlimited cards after that, the original prints 2. Then you have the collector's tins 3. You have the worldwide 4, and then you have the 2010 and onwards reprints is 5. So for some of his slides, he would have 5 different cards: the first edition, second edition, the tins, the worldwide, and the reprints. That's 5. And then they did another batch of the reprints, the 2010s later, but I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same except for the Eyes of Anubis stars. But we don't need to worry about that because for comparative purposes, I swear to God, this is going to make sense. Just bear with me, people. This is my first video. I have a lot to say. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway. Okay, so there's 5 comparisons, right? Well, first edition, simple. It says first edition. Okay, and I'm doing some movements on the screen. So you can see that finally I'm going to be getting active here. So first edition, right? Aha, easy. The second edition or the original print unlimiteds are exactly the same as the first edition, except it doesn't say first edition. That makes total sense. That's what you would do. You would release the first editions and then take it off and keep printing the same cards. So that makes perfect sense, right? There's no conflict there. There's a lot of logic and sort of science and deductive reasoning that goes into this process. And while we can't be 100% sure of some things, we're just trying to be as certain as possible. That's how collecting has to be sometimes. These things are getting old, so we're trying to be as precise as we can. But it's not 2002 anymore, so it's really hard to know what's authentic and what isn't. So first editions, right? Then you have the second editions, the collector's tins I'll get into a little bit, and the reprints. So, okay, and the worldwides. Okay, so bear with me. I know I'm talking a lot. First edition's easy. Okay, of the 5, that one we know every time. Okay, and then there's the unlimiteds. Those are the ones. Okay, we'll get back to that. You have the collector's tins, which I keep talking about. I think they're from 2003. Those are identical in appearance. For the most part, they are the same card. Gezi, this is like a big deal. Apparently, Gezi says that they are damn near impossible to identify, except for the spell card, magic card difference, which I will get into in just a little bit. There are the collectors from, I gather from what he was saying, that do believe they can find differences from these two cards. So it would have been first editions, the unlimiteds, and then these collector's tins would have come out like during that time or a little bit after. And they changed because Yu-Gi-Oh or Konami was getting sued by Magic. I think what was happening, they had to turn their Magic cards. Whoops, where are they? Jesus, there's not a lot of magic cards in this set. Okay, so it says magic right here. So they had to turn a lot of their magic cards into spell cards because they were getting sued. Okay, which they did. The collector's tins. Other than that, so that's easy to identify. If it says spell card, you know it's not an original, it's not authentic. So other than that change, which is totally obvious, I know this doesn't make sense. You have to, you have to go look at Gezi's videos to help you out, and you kind of have to watch them a couple times. Don't skip over anything. Absorb all the information you can. So the collector's tins, don't worry about those. Okay, you don't have to worry about those. The only changes they made were the magic to spell, and that's easy to see. So you know this isn't an original. Definitely not. It could be out of a tin depending on this. We'll get to that later. But it isn't. So again, so the tins we don't have to worry about. Okay, because they're either exactly the same or they're obviously different. So technically speaking, you could give a card a PSA and it would look like just like a normal monster card. Like, might not be a good example. Something like this, okay. And if there was no differences, the 10 cards would be the same. The PSA would treat it the same, so it doesn't matter. Okay, and then there was the worldwide release, and it was 2004, the Master Collection, and they put EN. Everyone's familiar with the EN. Those are actually pretty. Those are kind of hard to get. They seem more rare than these unlimiteds, obviously, and you would think they'd be cheaper, but I don't know. I think they might have a good value just because they are harder to get, and it's like a complete set, right? People love to see that. They want to get a complete set, even though they just re-released them. I think they were the 25th anniversary, but at least they changed the freaking copyright down below. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any cards saying EN because we're worried about. We want to get to the first editions. Those are the LOBs. There's no EN, so we can throw those out the window. So of the 5 first editions, we don't have to worry about. We don't have to worry about the tins. I'll get into that. That'll make some sense later. We don't have to worry about the ENs. All we have to worry about is the reprints from 2010, the Legendary collection. So this was the first reprint of the LOB where they made some significant changes to the errata or the text definition while maintaining the set code, I guess is what you call that, the LOB. Like the errata, which means, changing the text, the effect, changed for the worldwide, the 2004, what was it, Master Collection? Worldwide release. It did change for that, but it had the EN code. So they were doing good up until that point. They hadn't fucked everything up and done a major reprint using like an old set code. They actually kept it good. I think Labyrinth of Nightmare is when they screwed it up for the first time and caused some problems. But okay, so listen, I've babbled on for about 10 minutes straight. Go check out YouTube, Gezi, TCG. Check him out. He'll solve a lot of problems. He will help you out. He will give you some confidence. It's not super hard. You can do a lot of the difference checking online with visually off pictures if you're looking to buy cards on eBay, and even more so if they're in your hand. If you're looking at the cards, it becomes pretty apparent, the differences, and you just get used to it. And LOB, okay, finally, I'm going to get right into it. How far into the video am I? Like a mile. Okay, finally going to get into it. Okay, so Legend of Blue Eyes, all right? Okay, all I did was make these Excel spreadsheet and a PowerPoint slide here, some slides. All right, so over here on the spreadsheet, we don't have to worry about this. Okay, I have the number, sure. Name, yeah. Secret rare, of course. And then I put the difference in. We don't have to pay any attention over that. I'll come back to that later. So we're just over here at this PowerPoint. Okay, so this is the first edition. And this is the one everybody loves, right? Oh, first edition, I love you. But so expensive, man. Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Anyway, so all that I had to do is take a page out of Gezi's notebook. You know, it becomes pretty apparent to identify any differences. You're gonna have to start drawing lines on your cards, and basically I kept that going. Now this is a holofoil name, right? Foil name that I believe can move around to some extent, unless that's just for the rares. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm no expert. Rares for sure, it moves around. Super rares doesn't even have it. Ultras, I think ultras and secrets move a little bit. They must. Doesn't matter. So I lined up the T to kind of get an estimate of where it starts. Looks like it's the same, right? So you're looking at lettering differences. First thing you want to look at, I guess, backtrack a little bit. First thing you want to look at down here in the effect box is if the effect changed from the first edition to the reprint. If it's different, then obviously it's a reprint, right? If it's not the same as the first edition, it's clearly a reprint. So we don't have to worry about the tins. We don't have to worry about the worldwide. This is the first edition, so we only have the reprint we're looking for, and then the other card is the original unlimited. So if we can disprove the reprint, we know that the last one is going to be an original unlimited card. I know that sounds confusing. Anyway, you probably get the gist of it. It's not that hard. So go check out some wikis and stuff and gather information, do a little bit of research, and we'll promise you it'll start making sense. So this one's pretty simple. The text is actually the same, an unworthy dragon with 3 sharp horns sprouting from its head. It's the exact same. Except for clearly they've moved the word from closer to the edge than it is right there. It's not the greatest picture, but it's it's a little smaller. You can just kind of tell that it's a little tinier. Right? Just a little bit. You draw a line up, it hits the side of the square. This misses it. All right. So yeah, that's pretty convincing. You also look at this period here over on the left side, splits the W and the O. This one is pretty much right under the O. So what they've basically done is in these reprints, and this is from the 2010 plus 2010 2017 legendary, the reprints, they expanded the text, they stretched it out. I'm sure they did it intentionally because by now they realized, look, we can't just make the same exact cards. So they did spread out the first line of the text from a little bit, and even the next line, the second line, just a little bit. So it starts out even on the left side, and the farther out you go to the right, the bigger the spread will be, the deviation will be from the original or the first edition. The farther you go to the right, usually, if it's only one line and it goes halfway through, sometimes they did it and sometimes not, which is really annoying. And that's one way to do it. So if there's a difference in the errata, which you'll see, or if the text spacing is different, that's another thing you want to look at. And then up here as well, with these reprints from the later years, they seem to make these names smaller. And so as long as they start in the same spot, which they do, this N goes to, roughly the halfway point of the 7th star. And this is, I see. I brought the halfway point up. So I went right into the middle of the star here and brought it up. And you can see that it misses the N. But if you go to this one over here, it's into the N. So this name up above, it's going to be annoying, for the Trihorn Dragon, this reprint actually has a longer name, and that's going to be exceedingly rare. This is a PSA reprint picture. I cropped it off. They did make mistakes, but I'm confident because based on this, the from, that it is a reprint, because that's going to be the first thing you want to look out for, that you see, notice right away. The effect changes, the word changing is obviously concrete. Then the text spacing is pretty concrete, and then if that doesn't work, you come up here to the name. If it's different, you have a pretty good case for it potentially being a reprint or something. There's some kind of conflict, and you go from there. So for Trihorn Dragon, if you're looking online to buy this card, type up Trihorn Dragon, punch it in. You're looking for the ones that say from, on the edge, and it'll be pretty easy to spot which are reprints and which are not. And even PSA made some problems with this, made some mistakes. Like you will find there's Blue Eyes Dragon that have the same thing. Here, I'll go. Okay, next card. So Blue Eyes White Dragon, same thing here. Okay, this one's obviously a first edition, so we're just trying to find one card that's different, and we'll know that it's the reprint, and then that way, it'll be easy to. Once we know what we're not looking for, it'll be easier to get the not first edition but second edition or original Print Unlimited, which just looks just like this, because we want that card, and that's what we're trying to collect. That does not look like the reprint. So that's how we know which one it is online. All the eBay pictures, we find a Blue Eyes White Dragon that doesn't have this, then we know it's going to be this, right? That's how we do it. Because it's not a tin, because the tins are the same. It could be, well, it could be. They are identical except for the magic and spell cards. We talked about that. You can't tell those apart. You're just gonna have to live with it. They're only a year apart or less. Not a big deal. 2002, 2003. PSA grades them the same. PSA grades 2002. They do have one in their registry for 2003 tin. I think it was polymerization, but not a lot. There's just like one or two. But they have 2002 Blue Eyes. They have 2003 tin, just a couple. They have the 2004 Master. They have, and then they go up to the 2010 through 2017 because they treat them all the same. And for that, I think they're accurate. So they have one, two, they only have 3 designations for the LOB. Okay. Oh, plus first edition. So they have LOB first edition. They have LOB just 2002 unlimited, which is from 2002. They have a couple from 2003, and then they have the 2010 to 17 reprints. So what is that for? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the difference for Blue Eyes. First edition, what a great card. And see, this is how we mentioned where the name floats around a little bit. So this B, I did my best to go draw a line through the left portion of the B. And you can tell it's a little off the border. And what is this? This is an ultra rare. So anything that's foiled is going to move around a little bit. All right, so it cuts through the T, T. Okay, so this one on the top is a little to the left of this name here. And then we look here, and okay, I just drew a line up from the middle of the star. It's left of it. Drew a line up from the middle of the star. That cuts through the end. So there is a difference in the front. If I move this name to the right, to the left, the difference of these lines on the left, which isn't very much, it's like a half of a letter, boom, it would probably be just touching the right side of the N, which would make this name for Blue Eyes White Dragon a little bit longer. It would be different. And I know I said shorter. They're going to be shorter. Usually they are shorter, but they are definitely different. This one's actually kind of weird. They did a pretty good job making with the lettering, making it look like this actually looks more embossed than this, more deeper grooves. But the pictures can be deceiving. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I babbled on about all that when all you have to do is just check the text. This legendary dragon is a powerful engine of destruction, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like the text is the same, except for it's more into the border just a little bit. Period's over, the E's over. This period is right underneath the W. This period is right underneath the E. taken into account. You can tell too. There's slight color differences, but don't rely on that unless you absolutely have to. So taking all that into account, you can just kind of tell. This bracket here is coming down, basically right on top of the Y. This bracket is catching a little bit of the R. Again, evidence that everything in the text is getting pushed to the right. It's always going to be pushed to the right, expanded. The legendary is expanded a little bit. By the time you get to the end, it's even more expanded. The E is expanded, and the period is expanded. So this is a reprint for sure. And probably if you were you can tell too, there's a little bit some rainbowing here, and that's probably unique to that card. I mean, you can tell if you had them in your hands, you would know. So the name is different up top. They're meant to be the same, not positioning, but same length at least. And the periods lined up at the H and the E. The period, hey, whoa, period. Nowhere near the H. Okay, that's it, right? I've talked about that enough. I'm just trying to get you set up for this. It's a lot of listening to somebody just babble. That's how you do this, right? That's how you learn stuff. You just got to research. I know I talk too much. I'm going to cruise through the rest of these as fast as I possibly can. I just wanted to explain a little bit about the rares there. All right, so Hitatsu, me giant. Yeah, he looks mean. He's green. All right, so these are the common runs. The run of commons. All right, pretty simple. First edition. That looks great. Centering. Oh my God, the atrocity. How did they even do this? Okay, so 4 is all the way over to the right side. So this is a reprint 2010 and beyond. Now remember the 2004 ones, they say EN. And then the tins, if you got one out of a tin from 2003, it would look exactly like this card here. No shit. Not the reprint. No, scratch. I thought that was this. It'd look exactly like the first edition, the 2003 tins, except for it wouldn't say first edition, obviously. Okay, because they made the change. I think for the tins, probably they were going to be exactly the same as the original Unlimiteds, except they had to change the spell and the magic. That's all that they changed. And just up here, up above, um, where the stars would be. So forget what I said about you don't want this. This is a reprint. Bad. Unless you want to get a whole set. So the tins look like this. Don't say first edition unless they're spell and magic cards. Anyway, so the word for is clearly scooted over. The period is scooted over as well. That is a reprint. All right, Flame Swordsman. All right, I'm lining up. Let's see, is it the same text? Flame Manipulator plus Masaki, the legendary swordsman. Yes. Did a Fusion Summon suck? This is a reprint. Okay, so it's, by the way, for me, I had to go find the reprints. I didn't have like a database, so I was finding comparisons with cards that I had to go and locate. That makes finding differences much harder, right? So the text is the same. Okay, goodness gracious, is there any? And, it's one line, makes it hard. I know that the bracket cuts the A and the K, and the bracket just gets into the K. Is not much of a big difference, but luckily we have the name here. Flame Swordsman is a super rare, so this is not foiled in any way. So when they print this, I think they do it when the text goes on, so it's going to be consistent with it. And this is just black. So that's why the beginning is the same, flame. And then the end here is 1, 2, 3, and I don't know, almost a half. And then here it's 1, 2, 3, and none. So there's a difference. That counts. This is the reprint on the right because of the shorter name. I don't know why the 2 names were longer before, but this is shorter. So you take a look at everything. You have the shorter name. Probably if you were holding the cards, they would look very different. You have the slight expansion in the bracket, which is maybe imaginary. I don't know. It's hard to say. You can draw some other lines and stuff, but you really don't have to because the name difference is enough. That's not like a fluke. That's by design. They shrunk it. They shrink everything. There are some, like you can kind of see this like bracket, these quotation marks under almost the middle of the U, quotation marks left side of the U. Like there's differences here. Like they just barely stretched it out, but go by the name. I put text as a reason to be different, and yeah, you can draw down line down from the N and goes through the DS, goes to the OR. Okay, there's obviously a difference there. That's a visual one you can see. Okay, so did I skip one? No, Skull Servant. All right, another common. I'll go through this one quick. Um, da 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 da. Skeletal Ghost isn't that strong. Okay, so same effect. They just move the word in over. All right, reprint. We want the Unlimiteds. We want it to look like this, where in is where it is. No first edition. That's a reprint. Skull Servant is a reprint. All right, Dark Magician. Dark Magician is a rare, ultra rare, so we got to check the name, make sure if we're going to do a name test, but we don't really have to, I guess, here. So the Ultimate Wizard in terms of attack and defense. Period cuts up through the L. Did it. Ultimate Wizard in terms of it. Cuts up through the O. Pretty noticeable. All right, there's your reprint. There's your Dark Magician reprint. Um, Pretty easy to identify. I was thinking about something for a second. I can't remember. All right, doesn't matter. Dark Magician, pretty simple. So pretty hard to get burned on Dark Magician. So Gaia, the Fierce Knight. Go down here. 90 Sword Okay, looks like the effect is the same. They just moved his over to the corner, to the side. Okay, that's it. Here's your reprint. That's it. You want one that looks like this, that doesn't say first edition. Guess what? That's not it. All right. You got Celtic Guardian, same thing. The effect is the same by the looks of it. Width is pushed over to the side. The period is pushed over even farther. I know these pictures aren't lined up. My pictures sometimes are pretty bad. I'm going to get through these a little bit quicker now here because this video is running too long. All right, Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct. That is freaking hilarious. Shout out to you, Sharon Stone. I love you. Basic ins. At least I didn't say the other Freudian slipped. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Basic insect ideal is pushed over to the right, and the period as well. All right, and then look at the shine on this card, right? Well, Jesus, that's a new looking card from 2002. Wrong. That's 2010 or better, probably later reprint. And this is one of 3 cards. This seller had 3 cards all together, and you can just tell that, hey, look, these cards are all in nice condition. They all look identical. Unless he's been taking extremely good care of his cards, these are probably reprints, and you click here and see if you can find a difference. And clearly, Basic Insect is different. You want one that looks like the first edition without saying first edition. All right, Mammoth Graveyard, same thing. The texting is the same. Is pushed over to the right. This is in a good spot, normal. This is A+ paper. This is what the hell are you doing? Learn how to center your text paper. It's not too bad actually, but it definitely is closer to the right side. And then Mammoth Graveyard. The name on these commons, sometimes they do that every time. That looks like that is the same. I'm gonna say that it probably is, but doesn't matter. They always seemed like Konami did a pretty good job. They're kind of morons. They did some dumb things, but they tried to make differences in some of these cards, make it noticeable at least. Silver Fang, first edition, Snow Wolf, blah, blah, blah. All right, the text is the same. They just pushed absolutely over to the corner, and you can clearly see that that is it. That is a reprint. Same thing with Dark Gray. Mortalize is pushed over to the corner. Text is the same. It goes up to the 11. This goes way past the 11. Okay, don't get the reprints unless you want the reprint. You want the Unlimiteds, the originals. All right, oh my god. That's right, I forgot about this card. Okay, so Trial of Hell. Let's see if I remember this correctly. Trial of Hell. Okay. So they came out with Trial of Hell, and this is a first edition North American. Yes, I believe that to be correct. So they changed some of the imagery. It was much bloody before, and so they got rid of that. And then they figured Trial of Hell would be okay to do, but it got a bad reception apparently, and they had to change it. So you have a first edition Trial of Hell, but there's no reprint that I'm aware of. I don't think I saw one in the PSA registry. I think I looked because it doesn't make any sense because they ended up changing it to Trial of Nightmare. So And there's no reprint in the registry, so you can find the Trial of Hell first edition North American, and this is not a reprint. This is just the second edition or the original print. I say second edition, yeah, it's the original print. So it's exactly the same except for it's missing first edition. This would be the card that you would want to get, because it's not a reprint, because they didn't reprint this card. You just had the first, and then you had the original, and that's it. So they changed it to Trial of Nightmare, which didn't have a first edition because Trial of Hell was the first edition. Then you had the original, and then some point they made another original, like during the print run or whatever. They changed. There was both. There was Trial of Hell and Trial of Nightmare, by the looks of things, because there is a Trial of Nightmare reprint that they print 2010 and beyond, and that's the one that passes for today. So you can see in is scooted over. Okay, so don't buy Trial of Nightmare reprint unless you want it. So you probably want all three, right? Or not three. You want both. Trial of Hell, original. Trial of Nightmare, original. This here is in the way. This here is first edition Trial of Nightmare. That's Asian English. So the back of the card, it has like Asian lettering. I don't know what language it is. And this is the artwork that they declined to use. So you got a bloody coffin. It's kind of cool. Kind of a small coffin. I don't know what that's in reference to. Probably more disturbing than anything is the size of the coffin, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Anyway, so first edition Asian English. If you wanted to collect that, you could. Although don't get it mixed in with the other ones. That would be bad. You just want to have. You just want to have the Trial of Nightmare originals, Trial of Hell, and the Trial of Nightmare. I think I said all that right. I don't know. All right, going down to some more commons. Okay, back end's pushed over to the corner. Okay, that's your reprint. If you draw a line up through the period, you're through the nose as best I could, straight as I could. You can see that this name is longer than this name. This name here is shorter. It's pushed over to the left more. It's farther away from the stars. It's farther away from this. Not affinity. What's the elemental? No, attribute. Thank you. I got it. Okay, you can see the difference. Okay. All right, so reprint. All right, easy. 13th grave. Just ignore this one on the left. I don't know what that is. I think this might be some Asian English or something. I'm not 100% sure. This is the one I have. I have an unlimited that has the dash. Right, here, let me zoom out a little bit. Make sure I'm still recording. Okay, so pretty simple. First edition has a dash, blah blah blah. 13th grave, the unlimited. Excuse me, gets pushed over to the right side, all the way touching. That would be the one that you don't want. There's your reprint. You want the one that looks like this in the middle. Pretty easy to get. Okay, going down. Okay, these suck because fusion summons are really hard because the lettering is short, as you've probably figured out. And it's also, where's he at? Cherubin, yeah. So um, it's a rare. So rares, for some reason, I don't know, more so than supers, ultras, and not supers, ultras and secrets. The lettering gets like bounced around on these rares a lot. So that's some concern. So you're not going to be able to use the text. The text is too tight. The bracket doesn't work. So basically, we're going by, I think, the lettering in this case because I had some problems. Because you're not going to be able to solve every single problem, right? That's why I have it bolded and or filled in with the orange, because this is something to kind of keep an eye on. Because look, this is hard to do. They didn't make them all the same. It's still possible to collect. It is still possible to do this, but in some cases, you might feel comfortable by getting like the unlimited, or getting like a first edition backup. So if you sell it later in the future, you're like, hey, look, man, I'm pretty sure, but I have the first edition backups. I'm pretty sure I got the original Print Unlimiteds. Um, but here's the first edition backups to be sure, right? Or you can get the reprints that are reprints. Maybe they have the stars in the eyes of Anubis. Get a reprint for comparison to the one that you think is the original print. I don't know how long I've been talking. Probably a long ass time. I need to make like a part 2 video, but I'm just going to keep on rambling. All right, so with this guy, I lined up the H's to see this cuts through the border, this cuts through the border, through the P. I mean, my lines aren't perfect because these cards are turned a little bit, but that looks like they're about the same spot. And then with this one here, left of center, this one's left of center. Good lord, what did I push? Okay, so that's the same, right? So I just put emboss. Now, okay, so look, so this is the first edition. This is a pretty good clue. So you can see that this is all just like one like shade of silver, and see how it's all like smushed and kind of like bled, like it bleeds pretty significantly. It's like leaking out, right? It doesn't look very good. It almost fills in the whole A. Like it's not quality work. It's all the same shade. It's silver, like a lighter silver, and it's smudgy or muddled. Then you go over here to the other side, and some of this is the picture, but it's a darker silver. You can see that it's more pressed in. Like it's sharper, much sharper. You have much more of a Times Roman thing going on with the I don't know, the flares at the end of the lettering. It looks deeper, it looks sharper, it looks like a darker silver. It looks much tighter, and that's because it's pressed in and there's no bleed. I mean, clearly, this isn't just the pictures. This is a different. These are different. So when you're looking online, you can almost see it. Sometimes it's hard, but you can just see for sure. Um, Gosh dang it! Sorry, I'm not a pro. I don't want to get. I don't want to learn how to do this right now with the editing and stuff like that. I'm just going. Um, and yeah, so Cherubin, I love his sandwiches, but he's gonna go swing his mace. Morning Star. This okay. I'm just babbling now. You know what to do. You look for the name of boss, and then when the time comes, you get all the other cards, and when you save Cherubin for last, you're like, okay, how am I going to do this? Okay, well, I think this is an original print, so it shows up. You're like, okay, compare it to your other cards and see. All right, the sheen is about right. Okay, maybe I'll get a reprint and see. Find some guy that's selling 3 of them. Okay, these are probably reprints. All right, and then you kind of compare, blah blah blah, and okay, this is what I think. And you can keep all the cards in the set, just label them properly, and then when you go to sell the set later, you're able to say to the buyer, like, look, I have this all tracked and documented. Don't worry, because that's what it is confidence. People want confidence buying. They want confidence, selling too, I guess. So this is a reprint seller that had a bunch of reprints. I went to him. Okay, this is probably a reprint. It'd be nice if I had a freaking database. They need to upload a database somewhere so people can come and just look. And that's what this is. I'm going to keep going. All right, flame manipulator, another common. Okay, such is here, normal spacing, such is crammed into the corner. Okay, this is your reprint. Don't get that one. You want this one that looks like the first edition, all right? Pretty simple. Monster egg, same thing. Okay, blah, 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 first edition. Buy is crammed into the side. Okay, see, egg, did, tracks down about maybe through his middle eye. That the same? Might be a little farther in. Doesn't matter, but buy, different. Firegrass, okay, period goes up to the L, period goes up to the OB. It's clearly stretched out. All right, you can go down, period goes down to the EF, period goes down to the bracket. Okay, there's your reprint, easy, right? Darkfire Dragon, okay, this is another fusion rare. These guys are not fun. I put shorter name. All right, so you look at the text, it's the same, it's probably the same length. Actually, looks like that bracket might be right underneath or the quotations might be on the bracket, doesn't matter. So you line up the D to make sure, okay, you got some space there. Looks like this name on the top might be farther to the left. Okay, but it goes 2 full stars. This one is 1 2/3. And this is a PSA reprint. Okay, so this name here, judging by the left, because you have to do that with foiled names, is this name on the left is more to the left. So you have to take that into consideration. So imagine putting this line just a little bit to the left, and it would be like in the. Wait a minute, am I saying that wrong? Yeah, I am saying that wrong. Okay, so this name over on the left is too far to the left, so move it to the right. No, you would move this name right here on the right to the right, it would shrink the difference. Okay, so it would put it at about 1 3/4. It wouldn't be enough. Okay, is what I'm trying to say. My brain doesn't work that way. Like, I'm a smart guy. I can add and multiply, but I don't do well like spatially sometimes. All right, this is actually pretty easy. So anyway, you also can do the line all the way down, and it looks like it's going to go between 0D, line all the way down, and that's pretty clear cut. But you do have to take consideration where it starts. You have to do that because there's differences. So this card's different. PSA reprint confirms. Yeah, this card is different, and also, what did we have over here? This is a rare. So this is like that lighter silver, and this is a dark pressed. You can see it's just a little more. I guess they say embossed, and it is. It's a higher definition of a card, right? And usually it's sharper. I don't know, sharper is the word. And you can kind of tell this is more like there's a bigger separation of color with the white and the purple, and this is sort of like pink and purple. That's pretty telling too. But it's also really hard to go by pictures. Okay, so I confirm that as a pretty definitive change, so I didn't mark it orange or anything like that. Now, okay, I need to go much faster, or this is going to take a fucking hour. Dark King of the Abyss. Okay, scoot it over, simple. Fiend Reflection number 2, hand, PSA reprint, hand, scoot it over, very simple. Fusionist, again, fusion summon rares suck, but this one was easy. Track the F down through the P, F down through the P, it's the same. Usually the shorter the name, the bigger the problem. This is first edition. This one over here, you can tell, again, this looks a little flatter. This one looks a little more pressed. Certainly does. Looks like the image is sharper. You can't always go by that. You don't need to. You want to do spacing tricks first. Remember, science over art. It is important. All right. Again, that's how we live in a fruitful society. We rely on science over art. Okay. Doctors versus I don't want to get into it. Okay, science. Not the experts. You don't listen to the experts. You listen to the scientists. Okay. Anyway, fusionist. Right. So the T, this is much compressed, and you can just see it too, right? You can just look at it and tell that the letters are closer together. See if I can capture them both in the same shot. Okay, so maybe not super easy to tell, but the S and the T super close, not quite. Like the O and the N, they're almost kind of in the same, and you got the flaring that's significant, and then let me scoot over just a little bit. Like the I and the O, like everything's just a little more compressed every letter, and that adds up, and that's why you have a difference. One that cuts through the left of the S, and then this cuts through the H, going straight down. So that's clearly a reprint, different. Turtle Tiger,